that separation also comes with the preparation. All right? Many times people talk about a calling. Honestly, the first calling is a calling to prepare. But people think the calling is to get up and do something. But many times a calling firstly is a calling to prepare. And it's a silent thing that takes place. And you'll sense something. It'll be something different. You can perceive something different. You can tell God is working with you differently. You can sense an unusual burden, an unusual yearning. You can sense it's not to be this person or that person said it. Or it's not because of this, that, or the other. But it's something that is innate that God is dealing with you. And you can't shake it. You can't remove from it. You can just sense it from the depths of your heart. And you'll begin to having separated yourself from the cares of life to actually prepare for it. You begin to seek it, so on and so forth. We're going to cover all these things within it. All right, go over to 1 Corinthians 12, verse number 1. And we're going to work our way down to verse number 11. We're talking about ministering in the church of God. Ministering in the church of God. And let me say, while we're going there, two challenges of a congregation when it comes to ministering. One is a congregation that does not have enough inspiration, that you don't have people with a desire coming up, a new generation with a desire for the things of God. It takes divine inspiration to be cultivated inside a congregation to actually cultivate burdens among the generation that's coming up. If everybody in that congregation is actually trying, I can't wait to be the greatest business owner the world has ever seen. I can't wait to just light the world. I'm going to be an engineer that does this, that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things. I'm saying a congregation's in trouble when you don't have a generation rising up that you can sense God stirring some things up among them. You can sense a desire for different capacities of the church. You can sense a preparation without anybody beating you up and telling you got to do this, you need to do this. You can just something germane. You can sense people coming to the pastor. What's your thoughts on this? And it's the deeper things of God. Not just how do I stay saved, but how do I understand this? What about this, that, and the other? A congregation is in trouble when they don't have a younger generation or those that are even getting saved that may be older, but you can sense new converts. You can sense somebody, a generation coming up. There's something just in the air. You can sense a desire deep within them. I want to be used. I want to be used. So a congregation is in trouble when they lack the necessary inspiration to inspire the desire and gifts for the saints, young people, new converts, so on and so forth, to become laborers for God. A congregation is in trouble when they lack that necessary inspiration. And number two, the second challenge of a congregation is when a congregation, through manipulation or need, begins to utilize people in ministerial capacities that are not qualified. Here, I want to do this, I want to do this, and let me just say that I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. The Bible said, let things be done decently and in order. When you're initiating stuff, you should wait till you're asked to do it. Amen. Before you just go and doing it. There may be things about that you have no knowledge of, don't know nothing about it. There may be things about you that you don't even discern that are about you that will hinder you from doing what you're trying to do. That needs to be developed before you destroy yourself. All right? So here, a congregation is in trouble when you have individuals just so itchy and so wanting this, that, and the other, and the standard is so low there that they're just using anybody. Go to 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 31. So a congregation is in trouble when you don't have enough inspiration among you that you got the young people in the same, digging on their own, seeking God on their own, selling out on their own, not just for their own desires, but to labor in the things of God. And they're in trouble when the standard is so low to function in that congregation that they're just using anybody. Maybe there's a need. Maybe, hey, let the position go unfilled. Right. Let it go. I heard the pastor say one time, listen, we won't have no devotional meeting. If there's nobody that is qualified, that is capable, that would not enhance the service, we open up in prayer, we'll go right to the message. We won't have no choir. We just sing a congregational song and go right to the message. I will not lower the standard of functioning in God's church because of a need or because somebody just itching they want to. You in Babylon, you know what they do? Because they want to win you. If you got some natural abilities, they'll begin to try to give you titles and offices and this, that, and that. They're trying to win you. Oh man, you're going to be a deacon. Oh, deacon so-and-so. Don't know how you're living. Don't know. And the Bible said, lay hands on you don't know, man. You haven't seen them go through trials and go through this, that, and the other. Just quickly trying to use somebody. Go ahead and read. What did he say?
And he made a house of high places.
And he made a house of high places. This is Jeroboam, who is the son of Solomon, who is actually the son of David. So the grandson of David is now in leadership. And you know that his leadership is in trouble. You know that his kingdom is in trouble. Before you even see the trouble, you know they're in trouble by this right here. Come on and read. 21.
And he made a house of high places.
He made a house of high places.
And made priests of the lowest of the people.
Okay. He made priests of the lowest of the people.
Which were not the sons of Levi.
Which were not the sons of Levi. Go back and study the tabernacle. Study the law. They couldn't just pull Manasseh or just any other tribe. Benjamin, come here. No. God knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. It was the tribe of the Levites, Aaron's lineage. Why? Because there was a certain consecration that they had to have.
My Lord.
There was a certain way in which they were to conduct themselves. That it wasn't just nepotism or I like this tribe. No. There were some things before you get up that you need to do. Matter of fact, go over to 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 6. Why don't you just put anybody up? Oh, this Sunday school class needs somebody. Be careful with that. Oh, we need somebody to help us with the usher. Be careful with that. We need somebody to help collect them up. Be careful with that. Come on and read. 2 Timothy 2:6. Why did he say it?
The husbandman.
The husbandman
that laboreth must first partake of the fruits.
The husbandman that labors must first partake of the fruit. In other words, you got to be living what you're talking about. Amen. This ain't babbling. Where you just live any old kind of way, talking about don't lust. And if you proclaim the whole word, then you're going to say don't lust. The Bible says don't lust. But you got lust and demons yourself. You talking about don't get mad. The Bible's about being angry. And you're going off on people on your job and everything else. What you going to teach the children? What are you going to exhort the saints to? What are you going to lead? If you're not bagging up the gospel with your life,
yes, sir.
Then get your life measured to the gospel before you get up before the people. All right. So we see that two challenges of a congregation. One is that there's a lack. And the congregation is in trouble. When there's a lack of those that desire, that is seeking God with a burden of labor, or when they're just using any old type of people. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 12, verse number 1.
Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaketh by the Spirit of God, calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is the Lord, but by the Holy Ghost. Now there are diversities of gifts.
There are diversities of gifts, callings, abilities, positions. Come on and read.
But the same Spirit.
But it's the same Spirit. Come on and read.
And there are differences of administrations. But the same Lord.
It shouldn't be nobody functioning with a different spirit. I don't care if it's from the greeter into the back room. Nobody functioning should have a different spirit. It's the same spirit. Nobody up functioning should have a different spirit. Not on board, not aligned with God, not with the standard, not with the gospel. You operating with a different, you trying to build your own self. You're not trying to build the cause of God, the things of God. But you operate with a different spirit. And many times you get in a position, and sometimes people don't want to deal with it because you've been in it so long, but you done picked up a different spirit along the way.
My God.
You got a different spirit, and people can sense it. No one functioning should have a different spirit. It's the same spirit that perpetuates the gifts in everyone. Come on and read.
And there are differences of administration.
Come on.
With the same Lord.
Get down to verse number 8. I'm sorry, verse number 7.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
To profit withal. Every function of ministry in the church of God is to profit withal. It's to profit everyone. It's not to build you, it's not to deal with, it's to profit withal. Every element of the, I was talking to one of the brothers recently, and someone came from out of state, and they were just saying how much they appreciated the broadcast. And we were sitting there saying that, you know, it's amazing that sometimes I'll come to service and I can sense maybe either down the room here or down in the office, or I may be home waiting, just sitting there, or my office meditating right until I come here, whatever it may be, whatever quiet, or maybe in the park, just praying there. And I come and I walk in from down the other side, and it's just like, man, what in the world? Well, we'll be having a debriefing session later in the week, and the devotional leader or whoever it is will be talking and discussing how to go. And they say, you know what? The beginning of service was just kind of a drag tonight. You know, people kind of came in a little bit, and then it was like, in my mindset, I'm like, was you at the same service I was at? Oh. She said, no, you don't understand, Brother Lee. He says, it was not like that when it started.
That's right.
So here, you thinking, that's why you gotta have humility. I'm gonna get that in a moment. You thinking, well, that had to be prepared for.
Amen.
And do you realize that the choir was here at 5-something, dealing with 3 people to sing the complicated song that you heard, trying to find one person to do his part because the rest of them ain't there yet. Okay. So now you're trying to stretch it and trying to get it to work. And then the other ones trickle in, and you get them, then some that wasn't there get up, and they kind of help out, kind of mess up, but kind of help out. And then the Holy Ghost see our hearts are honest in the burden that we got, so he just come down and just anoints afresh. Okay. Which kind of messes us up, because now we think that we can operate like this, and he gonna come through for us. So here you thinking is you, but you don't understand what took place, and that has nothing to do with the prayer warriors that was up last night and meeting today on campus and in different places for the service.
Right.
So, I don't care who you are, operate with humility. There's nobody better than nobody else. I don't care how you operate. I don't care how you don't think. It took way more. Anytime you see the moving of the Spirit, it takes way more than one person. It takes way more than a single person. My father said something. We were at a barbershop one time. An individual came in there and he was talking about, I don't know, and I'm paraphrasing some of this. He was saying, I don't know of a congregation that's impacted this community from this end to that end. I can tell you about almost every household to know about this church, know about this gospel, living a holy life free from sin, God divinely healing bodies. Oh man, you go back, people getting saved at parks, and people can go up to the hospital. You just say the church of God, the nurses up there, the doctors, they know. What other church? This, that. And he said, and he listened, and it was a tremendous evangelistic wisdom moment. But there was a person that was, it might not even been saved now, but I don't know if he was saved at the time, but he had been instrumental in building the work. Going out into the schools, going out to the parks, going out and just coming to service with 4 or 5 people. I mean, people getting up there early in the morning, praying on each bed, doing it. And the pastor said, well, what you're talking about is because of them. What you're talking about is those prayer warriors. What? You might have seen me. My name might have been in everybody's kitchen table. Okay. But it was a saint. Where? It was a saint that built this work. It was a saint. And I'm sitting there just like, and he wasn't saying it, you know how you can say it super officially? kind of just like, well, you know, no. It was a gravity. It was a human. It was an understanding of. It was. You talking about the biggest television station network in the world, BBC.
Right.
I'm a young fella, 10 to 11 years old. I look up in church, not CNN, not NBC, BBC from another world walking in. We've never seen this before. I'm sitting like, what in the world is going on? He said, no, y'all, this is not about a man.
Okay.
I know you saw me being interviewed by them, but that's not telling you the mothers that didn't have to go to work, that turned up their plate 2 days out of every week until the baby came. That's not telling you the brothers, my God, that came every Friday night, didn't go home. Every Friday night, all-night prayer meeting until the case broke. That's not telling you the other sisters that didn't eat no sweets for 6 months until it happened. That's not telling you the saints from around the world. Read that verse one more time for me.
My Lord.
Verse 7.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
The whole element of laboring is to profit the entire body of Christ. Lord, whatever I can do that the body can be profited. Skip down to verse number 11. I'm sorry, keep going.
But to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom. To another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
Come on.
To another faith
Come on.
by the same Spirit.
Uh-huh.
To another the gift of healing by the same Spirit.
Come on.
To another working of miracles. To another prophecies. To another discerning of spirits. To another diverse kind of tongues.
Come on.
To another
preach in different languages. Come on, read.
the interpretation of tongues.
Come on, and understand languages. Come on.
But all these worketh that the one and the self-same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
Skip down to verse number 14. So here we got the Holy Ghost will unction a wide variety of callings. Verse 14, read.
But the body is not one member, but many.
Read.
If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body?
Okay, so now he talks about the eye and the ear, how each one was needed. Now skip down to verse number 18.
But now have God set the members, every one of them, in the body as it pleaseth him.
Right.
And if they were all one, neither were the body.
So sometimes, saints, there can be a tendency to strive after that which is most visible. Sometimes there can be a tendency to strive after that which is most visible, and sometimes it's legitimate. Sometimes it's a lack of understanding that every part is critically essential.
My God.
Every single part, and the mindset should be, Lord, whatsoever you would have for me to do, I'm going to do it with all my might.
Amen.
Lord, I'm going to give my all to it. Lord, it doesn't matter, because what will happen is, if you're not careful, you'll end up getting in somebody else's way. Or you could end up envying somebody that you think is getting some type of attention or some type of notoriety. And you could be covetous of that, not the burden that comes with that, not the responsibility that comes with that, but the position of that and the results and the way people perceive that to be. All right? So it's important to understand there's a variety, but all of them are from the same Spirit.
Yes, sir.
And God puts in place as He sees fit. All right? So here we want to begin to break down different components. Go to Proverbs 15:33. Proverbs 15:33. What?
The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom,
The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom.
and before honor is humility.
Before honor is humility. Let me just take a moment and speak about the critical importance of humility when you're laboring. And it's not, don't look at it superficially like, don't think you all that. That's so superficial. humility is far deeper than that. Humility is seeing and knowing your dependency upon God.
My God.
Genuinely. You genuinely are not relying on some natural ability. You are genuinely not relying on this, that, or the other, but you can sense a dependency upon God. Humility, and Lord help me not to get too far ahead of myself. With ministering in whatever capacity, your influence will grow. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And if you're not careful and you don't have the humility that's necessary, you will use that influence for selfish reasons. Your humility is a low estimation. It comes naturally that you begin to be used. People are going to commend you. People are going to support you and show their appreciation for you. If you don't have the necessary humility for your calling, that's why, and I'm going to get to this in a moment, it says abide within your calling. Because with the calling comes graces, comes the wherewithal that you need to operate there. If you begin to operate outside of your calling, you don't got the wherewithal to operate on that level. You don't have the humility to operate on that level. And you'll, by necessity, begin to think, because humanity is not strong enough to keep those spirits at bay, you'll begin to think more highly of yourself than you ought. You begin, you just as well. You just sometimes, you sit there and be, growing up when we see the pastor be at a place and God using mightily, you come and people in their humanity following him to the car, talking to him, saying stuff. Oh my God, is it God use you? Oh, I ain't never heard a message. He's human. But you know what's amazing? How, and I'm going to get to this in a moment, how he never took himself too seriously. I'm not talking about a lightness. I'm talking about of thinking I'm God's gift to earth and the earth won't rotate without me. It didn't start until I got here. I appreciate you, sister. We're going to be praying for you. This, that, and the other, and going on about his business. But if you don't have the humility, when you're dealing with God using you and people, you're going to have yourself begin to think more highly of yourself than you ought to really be thinking about yourself. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, there's earmarks of thinking of yourself more highly than you ought. You're going to begin to think you got a say in everything. You're going to begin to think that you got a voice about everything. You're going to begin to think that, who cares what you don't? But where all that come from? You got something to say about everything. Well, see, and I'm with this, and I don't think this is. So when did you get to the position where you should have the mindset that I'm just blessed to be named among the saints? Amen. I'm just thankful that you guys got me here. Now, it may be some things that you don't prefer. It may be some things that you wonder, this, that, that. That's fine. But I'm not going to begin to think of myself in such a way that I got a critical spirit, or, and I don't mean critical by the fact that you're just a negative. That's another whole foreign spirit. But I'm talking about a critiquing spirit. You just got something, every decision that's made, you're critiquing it. Everything that's made, you're critiquing it. And no, this song should have been something. What you want to do, what you want to display is that you got a better ability to pick songs. You got a better ability to make decisions. You think, listen, with the humility, you say, no, but that song was a blessing. I understand what you're saying, and maybe that one could have been, but that was a blessing. You know, maybe it was that you began to support others. With a lack of humility and you're operating in a certain capacity, you're going to find yourself struggling with supporting others that are operating in a similar capacity. You ain't got the humility. Why? Because everything you is a rival. It ain't about it. It's been edifying with all. It's about you and doing with humility. I ain't trying to, I'm not competing against you. I'm not trying to outdo those before me. I'm not trying to set the stage and now I got to live up to my compliments. I've been getting quite a bit of compliments lately. Now I got to kind of live up to my compliments. Amen. Humility, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, but I'm not. That's not what motivates me. That's not what motivates me. So there's imperative. I think over in, don't go there, but Peter, if you write notes down, 5:5, he talked about laboring, and he said, be clothed with humility. He said, be clothed with, now I'm talking about labor. Saints, this is incredibly important. To be clothed, let it be all around you. Let it be through you. Clothed. One individual got up to function, and they called him to do whatever it was to do at that time. And he walked up, he passed everybody, they called him out of the seat. He came up, they called his name, came up, walked up out of the seat, grabbed whatever material he had, if it was a song, if it was a Bible, if it was songs, if it was notes, whatever it was, he came up, and you can, I'm about to tear this thing down. And he got up there, and the Holy Ghost confounded his thoughts. And he couldn't kind of put it together. And he was struggling getting in his speed. And he was trying to
Lord have mercy.
About an old minister, he walked by. He kind of got eye contact with him, and he looked kind of perturbed. And the old minister said, if you'd have walked up like you walked down, your results might have been quite a bit different.
My God. My Lord.
And then they had one little humble brother got up there and kind of delivered his burden. God bless. But you cannot understand things. And let me just say this too. The reason why humility is critically important. I don't care if you're ushering and you do a great job. You know how to walk in such a way that the people you don't disrupt the service. You know, it's a special way that you know how to just go right there, check the need. You know, you can set people in the right place. You just got a way about, you just usher so well. You really got it together. You really get the art and the science of it all mixed together. And if you lack humility, there is an arrogance that'll come with you that you won't see, but others will.
Okay. Makes sense.
You ever heard it said that you're the last person to know you must eat? You don't need to, but Eric, how you doing, bro? How you doing? Good to see you, bro. You been praying through? Man, you been praying, huh? That brother been praying through, my God. Amen. Appreciate you, sister. God bless you. Amen. Sister. Amen. Praying through. You get home. My Lord. Oh, or you dealing with halitosis? You like, oh, my dude, oh, I didn't even. Everybody that you came in contact with smelled your food. Well, let me just tell you, that's the same way it is with arrogance and laboring.
Wow.
That's the same way it is with arrogance and laboring. Those with discernment will sense it a mile away. A mile away. You that one. You just the best. But when you have humility, you will prevent yourself from operating like that. You will prevent yourself. No. Just the way in which you carry yourself. Clothes is just wrapped all around you.
Yes, sir.
There's just a humility about you. A humility. And there's earmarks of humility. Like I told you before, don't take yourself so seriously. What I mean by don't take yourself too seriously, I'm not talking about you're serious about your ministry. You're very serious about that. You're prepared. You don't play games with it. You're very serious. You see the weight of it. You see, this is right before the ministry comes up. We must go up. We must open our mouths. We must impart. We're not just up here just doing something. That's devotional singing. But we're called to minister with the music. We give our all. We don't need no prompting. They may need a devotional leader to prompt them. I don't have to say, come on. I just give you the guidance. You come in. You come out. You're going to give your all. You prepare. Your thought. Your focus. Your body language. Don't you know you sing with your body language? People don't realize that. Why? You actually talk with your body language. Go to an interview. Let people see you. Your body language can tell. Or the same thing when you get up here. You get up on the stage. Your body ain't into it. This, that, and the other. You slouched over. You barely opening your mouth. This, that. Have your body language up with conviction, with confidence, with your all. This, that, and the other. You take your calling seriously.
Yes. Amen.
But when you don't take yourself too seriously, you feel like unless I sing that special, it ain't going to be a blessing. Who is you? Unless I pray for the person and you afflicted, I got to pray the prayer. It's 9 Holy Ghost filled brothers here. But you, I'm going to pray for them. Amen. Amen. I prayed the prayer. Are you serious, man? Peter and John, before Pentecost, they said, I want to be the one. I want to be the one. I want to be the one. After Pentecost, they working together. They said, look on us. We all won. We all won. We all won. Ain't nothing, we all won. Praise God. We all won. If you don't have the humility that's necessary, the other scripture said, I may not be able to get there tonight, but the other scripture said, preferring one another. You're not going to prefer somebody that you're way more capable of, and this is the big moment. Well, when you got the necessary humility, even though you may be a little more understanding of this part or got experience in this part, when you're clothed with humility, you'll be able to say, but the service is inspired, the anointing of God is present, God will anoint them to make up any insufficiencies they may have in comparison to me in this area, if it's really there. It's really God that's doing it anyway. Amen. It's really God that's doing it anyway. So I don't have to be the one to do this, that, and the other, because even if I do, I got more. You know what? There's a time for that. But the reality of it all is God that giveth the increase, and He can do it. All right. So foundation of humility. Go to 1 Corinthians 7:20. We want to deal with abiding within your calling. Abiding within your calling. Whatever God calls you to do, to work within that. Let's deal with that as we proceed. 1 Corinthians 7:20. We want to deal with abiding within your calling.
Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called.
All right. Now, mind you, and I can use other scripture with this. To exegete this text, he's talking about basically if a servant, if you come to Christ and you're a servant, this, that, and the other, then you actually don't seek to be freed, so on and so forth. But what we want to talk about was, you'll see several times where the priest might not have been there, and somebody else tries to do that which the priest was really within their calling. Okay? Well, it could be whatever capacity that God has you operating in. It's important to work with that. It's important to not let anybody or anything push you beyond it. And to give you a comparison scripture here, let's look at 1 Peter 4:10. Let's line this up together. 1 Peter 4:10. 1 Peter 4:10. Come on with it.
Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord.
1 Peter 4:10.
As every man has received a gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God.
So what you receive, even so minister with that. Keep on to verse number 11.
If any man speak, let him speak as the oracle of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom be praise and dominion.
Okay, so it said, if any man be minister, let him minister within that. What ability God give you, work with that. Well, there is a watchfulness that must take place, because there is a tendency to desire that which is beyond your current capacity. Okay, let me give some practical examples here. You were saying, well, you could begin to make yourself an usher. No, nobody's asked you to do that. The person that is over this auxiliary don't know that you have Well, you are an usher. You are doing, and I'm not saying this in regards to rank to positions. I'm saying this in regards to variations. So follow this thought. All right. So you are, and you're doing a good job. Okay. So now you are aware of some different things, and so you want to begin to critique the trustees. So you're asked to be in the choir, this and the other, but you really want to be a soloist. I can't just be happy a bit. Everybody does not have that given ability from God. You can blend in well, and you do a good job, but to put yourself out there, it might be best for you to abide. Not that you're any lower than anybody else, but it may be better for the hearers. Congregation, and for the totality of the entire offerings of the service. It's like a symphony. The service is a symphony. You know, from the time opening prayer to coming to it's a symphony. It's all working together. But in the symphony, you don't want to end the whole. So well, okay, so you are a soloist. But now, well, I kind of always want to kind of move my arms. So God bless you to practice song. So now I just, you know, I'm not a song director. I'm a choir. I direct the choir. So you are, you're the choir director. You have the responsibility of it. Not just directing a song, but not just how, but you are the choir. Okay. So now you want to give him preach. Are you a choir or are you a preacher? Which one? Now, mind you, there might be some time that the pastor may instruct the choir director, be careful of this. I'm sensing this. But don't take that to cause you to get on a platform that's not your platform.
Amen.
Well, you're ministering. You're asked to help. You're asked to help. Sister, could you help out with this again? There's a difference between being a laborer and a minister. You may be asked to help in a certain capacity. And let me just say this too. And I'm going to get to all of this. I know I'm going to run out of time. I want to at least give the C's to the ministries tonight. There's C's that you need to be effective. I want to at least give that tonight. But let me just say this. God calls you. But you'll notice that leadership confirms the calling. I'm going to show you, we're going to line all this up in this series that we're going to do. You don't announce yourself.
Amen.
You don't declare yourself to the people of God.
Amen.
No one has vetted you. No one has worked with you. And you get of declaring yourself before the people. It's out of order.
That's right.
We're going to break all this down. Saints don't declare somebody a minister.
Right.
Be careful with that.
Amen.
Oh, bless sister so-and-so, and bless brother so. You don't declare nobody no minister. If you're not careful, you're going to do one or two things. You're going to begin to have somebody operating beyond what's been confirmed based upon what you're saying. And now let me back up again on this. It's not because there's not a need for laborers and we want that. We do. But you don't understand there's a responsibility that comes with that. You don't put that on them. There's a response that's different than a laborer. If you may be used to labor in a certain capacity, you're helping out. But when you're talking about the ministry in that capacity, there's a responsibility that comes with that. Well, the pastor, one time, he was asked, why are you so slow with that? Why do you, first of all, not use anybody to labor just for long? Then you may have somebody laboring, but you never take that step. Well, you can have something that happens to you while you're operating on a certain level. But let it happen, and it's recoverable. And no one in history never really knows about it. Years later, it was dealt with, it was recovered, it was restored. The pastor was gifted. He worked with you, built you back up, restored your experience, your confidence in you, helped you to restore the favor of God and the confidence of the people. But you push yourself or let somebody else push you beyond what God has called you to do or what's been confirmed in the process developed. Now let something happen. And they put the same judgment on you in that matter as they are a full-fledged minister. And now this person who could have been outstanding is marred and marginalized forever. You don't push that.
Right.
And you're also, on top of that, you're diminished the integrity of the ministry when you're declaring somebody there that's not there. You don't. Now, if you sense the pastor working with somebody in a certain capacity, the pastor acknowledging a person in a certain capacity, then you follow suit. But just be cautious of that. All right, let's deal with, where we at right now? All right.
1 Peter 14.
14, okay, we dealt with that. Let's deal with, I want to deal with altar work. I want to deal with devotional leaders. I want to deal with, I got so many things to deal with. Council, this is council. Okay, let's just deal with the 5 C's. And I think that's far as we can get. All right, we're going to do the 5, not the 5 C's, but these are the C's of the ministry, all right? There are C's, and they all start with the letter C to the ministry. Number 1, when a person is desiring to minister, they must have a care/love for the people. Go to Romans 9:1. Number 1, they must have a care for the people, a love for the people. Romans 9:1-3. Come on.
I say the truth in Christ. I lie not.
Yes.
My conscience also bear me witness in the Holy Ghost that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart.
Yes.
For I could wish that myself were cursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
Hold on, Paul, and the pastor often refers to this. He says his burden and his love for the people is so great. He says, I wish myself accursed. If you listen to the purity of this statement, it's hard to comprehend. How could you? That's pretty far. Okay. But if you listen to the essence of what he's saying, I love and care about the people so much, I put myself, and I'd rather go through than watch you go through like this. I'm going to bring you to how this works. It's kind of like a real true blue parent. You can see your child dealing with something, and you will almost, if you could, say, Lord, let me deal with this and not them. When you're ministering, there needs to be a love, and this is a very deep example of this, but there needs to be a love for the people. A deep love, because ministry is serving. It's serving. And let me... As much as you love, let me bring back to parenting again. You know, we talk about, if somebody's child cut up, you could take them, their child, and you go wear them out. You know what? It may be a time for that. You know, maybe something that you got to correct them sternly, this, that, and the other. But in regards to a certain type of inflicting punishment, be careful, because you don't love that child like that parent does.
Right, right, amen.
And there is a way in which that child, somebody may come over and pick up the children and say that after a while, come get your children. But a mother has a wherewithal to just keep going. Keep going. Matter of fact, get into a relationship. You keep cutting up, that woman, come get your son. But that mother, that's still my son.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, when you have, that's because the love is there. When you're laboring, saints go.
Okay.
You in your class, you're going to want to kick out forever. Don't ever come back to my class. Never, never, ever, never. But when your love is there, you'll only kick them out for one time. And then say, I need to talk to your parents before you come back. But I love you, I do. But if you're not, when you're laboring, people can irk you. I mean, they can just kind of just rattle you. Just kind of, but when your love is there, man, listen, if your love ain't there and you trying to minister and you ain't got the love that comes with ministering to the extent, man, you don't even know. Talk to a pastor. You don't know how many times, listen, they're gifted. They're smart. They have transferable skills. What? They can comprehend complex subject matter and make sense of it. These skills are highly desirable in the corporate work world today. They can be extremely well off. And most times, at least in the Church of God, they not getting much at all. And they putting up with your foolishness. And you half receiving the gospel. And if you don't have a real love, I'm done. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. I'm out of here. But when you have real love and those thoughts come, you fall on your knees and say, Lord, help them and help me. Help them, Lord. You still praying for them. So, first of all, when ministering, the first thing is a deep care. A deep care for the people. A deep love for those you're ministering. You love them. You care about them. You care about them. And that love will sustain. Second point is compassion. Go to Romans 12. Or, matter of fact, go straight to verse number 8. Romans 12, 8. We're going to try to get through these C's tonight. Romans 12, 8. The C's of ministry. Romans 12, 8. Come on and read.
Or he that exhorteth.
Go to verse number 7.
Or ministry. Let us wait on our ministry.
Come on.
Or he that teacheth on teaching. Or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity.
Don't make a big deal out of it. Come on and read.
He that ruleth with diligence. He that showeth mercy with cheerfulness.
Okay. So the second point that we want to cover is the importance of having compassion. It's imperative that you have and you minister with compassion. Yes, keep your class in order. Yes, make sure you have them to be on time for rehearsal. Yes, but if people... Okay, let me back up. As saved and sanctified as people are, people have life issues.
Yes, sir.
Things happen. Things happen. And let me just take it a step further. The church is like a hospital. You got people broken, people hurting, people with issues. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know. And the last thing they need is somebody trying to minister to them that are ministering without compassion.
Go ahead.
You can say, listen, if you're not on time, it hinders the rehearsal because it's that you can. But if it's sense that, and if you don't, you ain't gonna never get. And just make sure that whatever you're doing, they can sense. Let me say it to you like this. I married a widow, and coming into it with a ready-made family. Tremendous blessing of God. Getting advice from someone about what I was coming into. Several different great advices. Several different, unbelievable. But one of the things I got really stuck with me. And they said, when you first get married, you don't discipline
Right.
Come on.
initially.
Good point.
You let the mom discipline. So I'm listening. I'm thinking I got scriptures to defend that, bro. Bible said, I'm ready. What you saying, bro? But when you labor in the gospel, you can find a scripture to fit whatever you got.
Okay.
Whatever it is, I find a scripture, you off. Well, they said, until you've spent enough time with them and shown enough love for them that they know, not you know, but they know
You know.
that you love them.
Amen. Smart. Wise.
And I sat there and I said, whoa, make sure they know. So then I'm up here to say the other something happened. We deal with it according like they gave counsel. Then after a while, they mess around, fall outside, bump their knee, this, that, and the other, and they screaming loud, and they run right past mine.
Come to you.
They going to bed, they sleepy. I'm so sleepy. This, that, crawling up. There's a big old baby. She's there, crawling all up under this, that. Yeah, tell me, Mister, this, that, Eric. And it's being the girl. Then, what you just do, boy? Get them. I'll bring your foolishness out. Go cover those food, bro.
Amen.
But the point is this right here.
Amen.
If you're endeavoring to minister to a classroom, to a choir, to a congregation, and you have not first displayed your love for them,
Okay.
your compassion for them. That's why some stuff is really pastoral, because he's been there all night long. He's been there when this would happen, and that was happening, and this would happen, and it will be received better. Now, I'm not talking about declaring the word, that's clear. But I'm talking about there's sometimes a way in which that you can set things in order. Just make sure. One individual, it was a bishop, and this church had contacted him and said, we want a new pastor. And they said, Bishop said, wow, man, I got to find somebody to come pastor these people. So he said, why? He said, every time he get up, he preach on hell. He tells us we going to hell every time he get up. He blasts us all to hell every time he get up. We just wait. Every time, they'll never uplift. They'll never encourage. They'll never. Every time he's telling us, at some point in the sermon, he can be preaching on the prodigal son, and he say he ain't the only one. The one that was in the house, he went to hell too. He'll find a way. The five. I'm going forth on the Beatitudes. He gonna find blessed are and yep, and those without a pure heart, y'all all going there. None of y'all. Well, he said, you know what? If that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead. I'll give you a new one. So he found, looked in there, seen the opening, the brother was desired, sent him down. Well, it was 6 months, he had no cost. Everything was like, thank you. So he went down, sat in the back of the church. He said, wow, let me watch this minister go forth. Did people minister? What? He got up, took his text. Luke, rich man, went to hell. He preached hell for real, burning, and all these people, and y'all go. When he got done, he called the board in and said, y'all telling me how happy you are with him, and they came in smiling, excited, and happy. Praise God! Oh, we got a blessing. But you were so flustered with the other one. I don't understand it. He preached on it. He said, they said, I understand that. But what you don't understand is, the first one, he preached like he wanted us to go there. The second one, he preached it, but he was crying all the way through it. Oh, don't go, you're going to hell, but I don't want you to. You're off. But man, sure. He said, I seen the same thing that one seen. I ain't going to Lord to say saying it around here. But I'm endeavoring to do it with compassion. Paul said, I'm a preacher of truth in love. I love you, so I got to tell you the truth.
You're right.
But I'm doing it because I want you. So whatever ministry it is, if it's quiet, whatever it is, make sure there's compassion in it. All right. Real quickly here, character. So we got, one is care or love for the people. Two, they possess compassion. And that is, they're considerate and they're sympathetic to the situation. Not compromising, but they're sympathetic to the situation where your husband left you. I feel. Let me just say this real quick. If you operate without compassion, they may hear you, but they'll begin to stop receiving you. Right. They'll hear you, but after a while, they'll just tune you out, and this, that, and the other. But when they see his compassion there, they'll keep measuring, keep going there with it. All right. Number three is character. 1 Timothy 3:7. 1 Timothy 3:7. Pray for us, Saint. We'll wrap it up. 1 Timothy 3:7. The third C in the C's of ministry. 1 Peter 3:7. Come on, read.
Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach.
Okay, stop right there. It said having a good report with them that are within, without, so on and so forth, over. And Peter, and you can write this down, 22:1, he says a good name is rather to be chosen. It's important that a person has good character. Now, definitely moral character and honesty, but any saint should have that. We're talking about something beyond that. Your character should commend your calling or commend your position. There needs to be let me give you an example with sound character. You got a situation and you wouldn't favor your children any more than you would favor anybody else. You got a situation, you got to judge it. Your wife is involved in it.
My God.
Impartial in the way you interpret it, in the way you consider the matter, and it takes character when you got feelings involved and you got, I'm not talking about moral like you ain't at a club and you ain't at this, that, and that. No, we wait, a saint don't do that. But there needs to be a certain character about you and let me take it a step further. Questionable things. There may be some things that could be quasi-legitimate, but you would consider your involvement regarding the way that could be interpreted. It may be even some professions or some business deals or some whatever. You got a head, and you hear people in the world will say this, that to you, and the other. And they'll see you minister, they say this and the other, and they will say, there's a certain respect that they give you. And you need to handle yourself in such a way that warrants that type of respect. You can even function in such a way that the saints will give you a certain respect. It's a certain thing. That's why the Bible speaks about lay not your hand on mine anointed.
Ooh, yeah.
Why? Because you can hinder God's ability to use that person by you running them down. But more important than that, a person normally won't do that because there's a certain respect and integrity that they'll give you because of the way you carry yourself. Even though I may not understand, or even though I may not agree with what you, but there's a certain, it was a situation that happened, and the pastor at the point in time was not conveying every element about it. He wasn't sharing every detail about it. But there were some that didn't know all of it. And they had such confidence in his character. They said, see, listen, you don't have to come to me with that. You don't have to come to me telling me this, that, yeah. I understand all of that stuff. I may not know every piece, but I know him.
Okay.
I may not know the point that you're making, and I don't know that how this is not accurate or this, that, and the other, but I'm going to tell you this. There's a certain, and it's not just because of an office, it's the way they've seen him carry himself. Would never, ever take his churches, this, that, or the other for his own personal use, or never ever alone with some woman at nighttime, and this, that, and you gotta always want I just ain't gonna, don't handle yourself in the manner in which it's gotta be uncomfortable for somebody else to see you in that position.
Come on, I got
Don't handle yourself in that manner. But they shouldn't be talking. Listen, if you minister to the saints, they shouldn't have to talk. You want to get up in front of them, you got a responsibility to handle yourself in a manner in which is beyond reproach, beyond question mark. It's beyond any, no. One individual, he was endeavoring to, wanting to make an announcement in this call, this thing, hadn't gone through this, still trying to find himself as far as profession, still trying to deal with courtship, still trying to, and man, my advice, brother, lay low. Just take your time. You could be a regular saint and try to go through some stuff. Try to court. Be a regular saint. Everybody, almost, not everybody, because you got something to do with. A good percentage gonna have a lot to say about it. And it might have been something that you was involved in 6 years ago.
Come on.
Brother, you want to have some grace in your soul, and it's just a scrutiny. Now, can you imagine that level of scrutiny being on top of you professing to be this, that, and the other? Brother, if there's anything about you that's not fully measured, they may not tell you to your face, but they're having a conversation. And if you ever come too close to wherever they're at in life, you hit too close,
My God.
I will bring up the fact that you doing all this, but what about that area? That's why it's imperative. Make sure you don't give them nothing to talk about.
Amen.
For the most part, they'll find something.
My God.
But make sure you don't give them nothing. But also, you don't want the Word of God being used through you in whatever capacity to not be received because of a lack of character. Competency. I'm not going to go through this, but you just write this down. 2 Timothy 2:15 says, study to show thyself approved unto God. It also speaks about that you shall be, let us read that real quickly. 2 Timothy 2:15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman needed not be ashamed. Be competent. You want to have a certain competency about the area. You know what's amazing? Here you are. You really feel a calling and a desire and a burden to be a trustee. And you're not even competent with your own affairs. Here you are. You don't even know parts like that. Bruh, can you explain the difference between acceptable with God in the Old Testament and acceptable with God in the New Testament? Can you give me a type of justification? Can you explain to me some details of the life of Joseph and the inspiration of that story in the Bible? Now, is that in Timothy or Hebrews?
I guess. You don't know.
Let me go a step further, saints.
Okay.
2 ways a person becomes confident. One is anointing from God. And the second is personal development of their craft. Spending time before God. Understanding that you know how to, what did it say? Not be ashamed. You up here on this representing us. When you're ministering to the people, and you're also representing the people. You get up here and you're not prepared yourself accordingly. You're not capable of doing that. You don't have. So it needs to be a competency. A competency that comes from the anointing that God has given you and your personal preparation and development to labor in the capacity that you're called to. The second to last C is consecrated. Write that down. Consecrated. We can't go there, but Romans 12:2 talks about being consecrated. Several other scriptures in 1 Chronicles, I think it's 29:5, talking about consecration. It means to be dedicated and sold out. Serving others is sacrificial. It takes sacrifice and serious commitment. If you're not consecrated, you won't fulfill your calling. You'll neglect your duty. You won't prepare accordingly, and you'll cut corners. Now, I'm not talking about
What are the scriptures?
Romans 12:1. 1 Chronicles 29:5 speaks about consecration. Also, Galatians 2:20 talks about the crucifixion, which is a type of consecration. And then if you also study the tabernacle, you'll see that those that labored, they were set apart. There was a consecration that they had to possess. And there's several others that we can go into. But it's talking about, and let me just say this, a consecration. You'll cut corners, not in regards to cutting corners as far as stuff is right or wrong. You won't prepare yourself properly. The priest must go before the people. Here you are coming to service and you just grabbing a song to sing. You've not prayed about it. You've not gotten before God to really prepare that. Here you are preparing a song in rehearsal. They ain't got time to sit here for you to figure out the song right. You're wasting my time, their time, and the other. You ain't got no more than the people you minister. You ain't doing no more than they are. You finding your way through scriptures while they coming to sit down before you. You finding you haven't got before God before them. Prepared yourself accordingly. Took time out your day. Figured it out. Prepare. Rewind. Cut. Got that part. Yep, this is right there. Got this. So when we come, we're going to spend this hour efficiently.
Yes, sir.
I'm respecting you, y'all respect me, and we're going to be a blessing to God.
Amen.
My God.
But when a person does not have that consecration, they're coming to their Sunday school class, they learning the stuff while they're teaching the children. They picking up stuff, okay, you ain't prepared your lesson. It takes time to tell them, sisters, I ain't going out tonight.
Right.
Tell them, brothers, I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get with y'all later. But I'm with the calling, with the position, with the laboring, there's a consecration that must take place. A consecration, your life must have a certain consecration. And I'm not even talking about just preparation in regards to that. But there should be a consecration that's beyond, with you and God, that's beyond just spiritual maintenance. See, your anointing and your effect come from your overflow. Not just you getting some for you, but you should get so much when you're before God that you get some for others. And not just when you're ministering here. They can come and contact you wherever you're at. And you'll just send. You don't know how many times a day, even today, in the office, so-and-so come out. I just need some encouragement. What about this and the other? And you got to be before then another person call. Well, hold on, I'm doing a deep sickness, but what about this and that? Okay, yeah. This morning we're reading over in Luke 17. Jesus was talking about persistence. He started off with the woman who said that with the issue. He said because she wearied. Then he ended the whole chapter. I've never seen this before, but he ended the whole chapter talking about the man who was sick by the side of the road. And everybody heard Jesus coming. And they said, what's going on? What's going on? These were all the able-bodied, the sophisticated folk. They were up there, and he said, who's that coming? They said, Jesus. He said, Jesus! 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 Jesus didn't hear all those that were standing by the wayside while he came by. They all had issues too, but he didn't hear them, but he heard the one who just kept going. They said, be quiet. He said, Jesus! Thou son of David! Shut up! Oh, have mercy, Lord Jesus! But I'm sitting there, I'm studying this, and I'm like, Lord, what is this for? I didn't know that it was not for me. There's a consecration. You got to go beyond just spiritual. Here you are playing the piano. Here you are teaching the choir. Here you are, and you hardly have your devotion yourself. You need to get before God and get an overflow. So when you're ministering and Zoom, you have more to consecrate. My consecration exceeds just being saved. I'm not doing enough just to say saved. I'm getting before God beyond, and sometimes it takes time. You got to cross